It is the only English-speaking country sitting on the South American continent, with a population of just over 700,000. Ghana's capital, Georgetown, is on the coastline. The country earns a significant amount of its gross domestic product (GDP) from gold mining, a large employment sector in the country's interior regions. This sector is predominantly populated with men. Women are often recruited from the coastlands and other parts of the country to work in these gold mining districts as cooks and shop attendants, among other jobs. They are promised huge compensation. However, in most cases, things usually take a different turn once they would have arrived. Trafficking in person raised its ugly head in Ghana well over a decade ago, even though some believe the trade existed over a longer period of time. Many feel government has done little to address trafficking in persons. Our requests to government officials for interviews on this subject have not been granted. Nevertheless, one newly formed non-governmental organization, NGO, the Ghana Women Miners Association, is a champion in the fight against trafficking in persons. The organization's president, Simona Brooms, was recognized by the United States government through its State Department for her work in trying to stem the flow of trafficking in persons in Ghana. Sitting down with the fledgling women-based association, a lot about its work in the area of trafficking in persons was uncovered.
We launched on January the 25th, 2012, and how we really get started, it's a brainchild of mine. Because of my experience in mining for 26 years, and because of my experience as a female miner out here, I just wanted to fight for the less vulnerable ones and those that are less fortunate.
Within the association there is a trafficking unit. The unit sources its own funds and at times its members using their personal monies. A rescue mission costing about $6,000 is then embarked upon.
So we would get started one Sunday or Saturday morning, leaving our homes about 2 a.m. in the morning, bad road, bad weather, and just journeying out and start to go there and talk to the men also, talk to the women, going to the most desolate places that persons wouldn't go. Once the team is in the field, the unit makes several stops at shops which are usually known for such activities. The ladies are usually educated on their rights. They themselves would identify victims. For example, we were there and educating some prostitutes, and she said, in spite I'm above 18 years, I really want to go home, and this is my situation. And she's held there for 7 months, no communication with her family and all of that. The situation and stories emanating from Ghana regarding human trafficking are not painting a good picture. Dealing with a victim who was trafficked, a survivor from age 13, and to really hear her story coming from an area with no communication, no electricity, and leave home to spend Christmas holiday in the city, and then find herself being trafficked by a policeman, and being raped also by a said policeman, and feels that she has no control over herself, and more so is scared because it's a policeman that she's trafficked by.
This particular story, nevertheless, has a positive ending.
I end up fostering her to really work a lot with her, and now she's with the vice president and being fostered because at her age, want to give her an education and all of that. So she really stand out because she became a part of us as an organization.
For the year 2013, the association rescued a record number of 26 women and girls. However, the group has had its fair share of challenges.
Funding, support, government support, having to deal with the police.
The Combating Persons of Trafficking Act of 2005 prohibits all forms of trafficking and prescribes stringent penalties ranging from 3 years to life imprisonment commensurate with rape.
I think the act is very clear in simple language. Anybody could understand, but not even the ministers and so on, which the act speaks about in their responsibility, the victim, about the task force. And if the task force was really up and functioning according to the act, then my NGO would not have to have the burden of raising awareness, sensitization, rescuing the victim, fighting with the police, taking them through the system.
Ghana currently stands at Tier 2 on the watch list for trafficking in persons, and according to Ms. Brooms, all must work together in a holistic manner to combat this growing concern.
Human trafficking is at a stage that I think that all Guyanese public sector, government, all NGOs should really come together.
The road ahead is certainly a long one. Handel Duncan, HBTV 9 for Lift Up the Show.